others to project leading blacks like they're black leaders. I don't have a problem with black leaders, funded, financed, and supported by black people, going in any house for me, Eddie Long included. My problem is when we have people raised up who are totally alien to any accountability to our community, that are imposed upon us, and then supposedly that becomes the new view. So we must teach generationally that, yeah, we can be proud of a Colin Powell getting the way he got, but there wouldn't have been a Colin Powell if it wasn't an Adam Clayton Powell. And there wouldn't have been Condoleezza Rice if it wasn't for those 4 girls in Birmingham. Bush picked fruit off of trees that we planted and grew. He didn't plant those trees. So we need to get that straight. What we did in our campaign after the presidential race, we went back into the DNC and we said we need a seat at the table. Right now, we have less blacks on the executive board of the Democratic National Committee than we've had in 40 years. Sister Green I was talking about. We chose one of our own, executive director of our group, Marjorie Harris. She's here somewhere. Ran up for DNC chair, asked people to support Marjorie Harris. Why? Because we wanted somebody at the table when they say we do not have the funds to know what the budget is. They told us the last week of the elections they didn't have funds for travel. We found out a week after the campaign they had millions of dollars still left in the bank. I'm talking about Democrat now. So we need to hold the accountability to those we do give our votes to.
Okay, stop. Before you go further, I'm going to let you finish all your points, but I want to stop you right quick. Why then, just tell me, right now, just tell me then why, if the Democrats came to us tomorrow, given what you just said, and asked us to vote for them tomorrow, if there are fewer black folk, if there are fewer black folk on the Democratic Leadership Executive Committee now than there were 40 years ago.
Right.
And when they needed our votes, and they wanted black folk like you and others to go out and help get those votes, and they had money sitting there and didn't cut you a check to travel to help get out the vote, why should I vote for another Democrat ever?
That's the question. That is the question. And I think that the answer has to come from a collective discussion, which is why we can't jump in on each other on who we talking to if all of us is coming home with less than what we should have. That's the real issue. And that's why we ran Harris. That's why we're addressing this now. I mean, D, I didn't get the votes I wanted. If we did, we'd be having this conversation in the East Room. But... I got twice more votes in South Carolina than Dean. I got more votes in Georgia than Dean, and Florida than Dean, and Mississippi. He's the chair of the party. So we at least need to know why we're not more on the executive board. That's one. Two, the generational question, as we raised with Harris. We've got to bring the young generation on and not condemn them. We talk about what the hip-hoppers did and Truth Heyman and others did with registered voters because we didn't like their style. Well, my mama didn't like the style when I was a kid. So some of the young people today may dress a certain way, but I never get when my mother saw Isaac Hayes she said he had on chains and her pantyhose. She didn't understand that then. We can't condemn these young people because many of us sitting right here in this church did a lot of things when we were young. Matter of fact, did all we could. Then come and join the church, jumped up the next Sunday and start singing things I used to do, I don't do no more. Most of you things you used to do, you can't do no more. We cannot allow them to take the policy discussion away from health care, our having an inordinate amount of the maladies and illnesses in this country, from education, where we're not being educated, and shifted into an argument that they are not prepared to debate with us. I have no problem debating morality with them. Their problem is they don't want that debate. I'm considered a liberal left-wing Democrat, but I can tell them about faith and morality, because no matter how liberal and left I am, I still believe in salvation. I still believe in Jesus. I still believe in God. I don't need no right-winger or no right Christian to teach me about faith. Tavis, I was raised by a single mother that taught us how to pray, that taught us that we had to believe that God was for us. It'd be more than the whole world against us. I went Christmas Day to Dothan, Alabama to see my mom in the hospital. She has Alzheimer's disease, didn't even know who I was, didn't recognize me. It bothered me, so I went back to the hotel. I went back the next day, Brother Minister, thinking maybe it'd be better. As I walked in her room, she was sitting there humming the song Amazing Grace. And even though she didn't know her own son, she never forgot that song. So next time any group of our ministers go see the president, tell him he don't have to teach me about faith. I know about faith, because some people think it was politics, but it was grace, Bishop. It wasn't civil rights, it was grace that brought me safe this far. And tell Bush that grace will lead us all. All right, and the church said? Dr. West, I want to keep advancing this notion of this covenant and what might work here.
No, I think even as we talk about faith and grace, we have to keep in mind the art of criticism, that how we learn to lovingly